Welcome to Compas F.C. I'm Fernando Ramirez. This is episode 9, and like J.C., Eddie, and I were talking about off camera, wow, time flies. Yes, it does. Obviously, J.C. Cervantes, Eddie Rodriguez back with us. J.C., how you doing?
Great. Another night. Some more stuff to break down.
Eddie?
Doing good, staying dry, and ready to go.
That's all you can do right now, especially with all the rain, and there's supposedly more coming. But I think it rained down today on Man City in the Carabao Cup. I think everybody knows
Ooh.
that this is basically Man City's Man City's tournament, and they end up getting upset by not Man United, not Arsenal, but Southampton ends up upsetting them 2-0. Eddie, I gotta start with you. What in the hell happened here?
It's one of those classic Pep moments where the madness to his genius caught up to him, and I think he overthinked this one. And Southampton's one of the worst teams in the Premier League right now. I think sitting bottom two of the league. So yeah, what a shocker. Um, I know Pep right now is just going ballistic. So wow, what a way to start your week, right? Losing to Southampton and then having to play Manchester United over the weekend. Wow.
Uh, JC, are you surprised by the lineup that Pep went with?
Um, Not really. No, it's his tournament. He puts out a very strong team every single time. Any way you cut it up, he basically has two starting lineups. You can't really call his team a B team in any way whatsoever. He quote unquote plays to win every game. So, you can't win them all.
Yeah, no, this is a crazy game. Eddie, what did Southampton do right in this game?
Credit to them and what they did do, but honestly, it's just what didn't Man City do properly, and I think it was just execute in the final third. This is a game of chances, and if you don't take the chances you create, then unfortunately, you're not going to get the outcome that you desire. But credit to Southampton, they showed up, they stepped up. Now they're in the semifinals of this competition. Really, that's the only thing they can look forward to. Um, Besides some of the transfers they're working on right now, but honestly, their season looks like uh, I would say it's pretty much done for. They'll be lucky to survive relegation. So being in the semifinal of a cup competition, good for them.
Uh, JC, was it a mistake for Pep to sit Erling Holland and Kevin De Bruyne?
Not at all. Superstar Julian Alvarez, who just won a World Cup, his best player, Phil Foden, right there, that he's been loving since he's got there. I mean, there's really no bad takes on the Man City team other than the goalkeeper, I guess you could say, but he's never had strong goalkeepers. So that's not really a thing. But all credit to Southampton in this one and really just going out there and playing free and taking it to them and not getting little.
What did you think Southampton did well?
Just executed. They played strong. They didn't get little. They didn't care who was on the other side. They knew it was the only tournament they really had a chance at, and their only chance at glory. So they went for it, and they stuck it to a team that was really overlooking them. I feel like, and just more focused on the weekend's matchup and typical Pep fashion. Just overlooking the clubs that aren't really big clubs, quote unquote. And that's the English league for you. Just you can get punched in the nose at any given moment and you better react.
Eddie, I thought Pep had a few ideas. He he had been
Oh,
talking
you
about he
saw
had a
that?
few ideas.
Oh, you
I
saw
saw
that? My bad.
I got a
Uh,
few ideas.
Oh yeah.
yeah, he's a he's a madman, right? He labeled himself a genius. I know he's kidding around when he says that, but a lot of people do label him a genius. But there's times where Pep overthinks, and this is one of those classic moments where he was overthinking the strategy, he was overthinking the players to play, and it costed him the match.
But JC, isn't this? I mean, like you guys say, it's typical Pep fashion. But I mean, if you're the players, don't you kind of get a little? I mean, I know it's just Southampton, it's a Carabao Cup and everything, but
Exactly.
like
You see
this is
that
what
that
happens
that was the mentality.
exactly. But like, isn't this usually what happens with him though? I mean, yeah, last year against Real Madrid in the semifinal to go to the Champions League final, he takes out
Mhm.
most of his guys. They all come off celebrating, getting excited because I think they're going to go on. And then obviously Madrid scores at the end of the game. and moves on, and Pep's kind of shocked. But isn't this usually what happens with him? I mean, he overthinks it too much.
100%. And if you want to go back to the last Champions League final he had, Thomas was able to stun him in the same fashion. He tried to get cute and play. Who did he play at center forward? That was dropping back. That was the
Oh,
big.
Sterling? No.
Who was it? Was
Yeah,
it Sterling? Was it? It
I
was
think it was playing Sterling at center
Sterling
forward.
or Silva, one of those two. And he thought he was, an evil scientist and this and that for doing so. But it's just, he overthinks these games and he thinks he's going to catch somebody off guard, but it ends up just backfiring on him. And like you said, it's not the first time he's done it. And he's been doing it, just about at every club he's been in. It's happened to him at Bayern. It's happened to him a bunch of times at Barca. We've all seen and witnessed those. But now it's just, his domino pieces are starting to fall, I feel like.
You
And
dare speak against Tiki Taka Pep?
Oh, come on. Xavi and Iniesta ran that midfield. You already know. You could have put me in charge there, and I could have won a couple of trophies too, with Neymar and Suarez and Xavi and
Unless you're
Iniesta.
Tata Martino, you can't win.
Oh, yeah. Oh, don't start there. Yeah. No, but
Eddie,
definitely he's known for
ahead.
it, so I'm not surprised at all, my man.
No, you're good. Eddie, moving forward, does this kind of hurt Man City moving forward?
I think it damages their confidence, right? It's never a good feeling when you lose to one of the worst teams in the league, especially in a cup competition that you're known for winning. We jokingly call it the Pep Cup, the Man City Cup, since he's been there. I think he's won it like 5 out of the 6 times or something like that, something crazy, right? So yeah, it's unfortunate for them. It's a knock on their confidence. I think Erling Haaland's going to be ready to go on the pitch and ready to face Manchester United over the weekend. But we'll get to that later.
J.C., if you're Pep, what do you tell the guys after the game?
I guess to shake it off. And if I were him, I'd apologize for not coming up with a better game plan than just throwing 11 guys out there and let them go do what they're going to do. Because definitely you don't really want to, leave these guys on a negative, note when you got such a big game. That's not only big just because of the rivalry, but when you look at the points that are, up for grabs and the positioning you could take after such a game it's you really have to go out there and be the biggest supporter you could be of your team and rally those guys. Cause I don't know, it could really be a big snowball effect after this. It could be one bad thing after another.
Eddie, especially with, and we're going to preview that game in a little bit, but it like you said, like JC said, it could hurt them moving forward. I mean, you lose today, you lose against Southampton. Let's just say you lose against Manchester United. It could snowball you, especially with some crucial games that they have moving along. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. But it can also have the opposite effect, right? Like maybe this is a wake up call for them where, Pep gets into them and drills into them like, hey, like we need to be perfect moving on and moving forward if we're going to have any chance of competing from the Premier League and strolling into the Champions League full of confidence. And we've seen the Man City team in the past of Pep. So that goes on these crazy runs where they go on like a 14-game unbeaten streak, scoring goals for fun. So yeah, it just depends on how the players react, and if they're gonna, cement their foot and say, hey, you know what, our season starts now, and every game we're playing is like our last, or if people are just falling out of turn with Pep and his ideas and his style of coaching, and like you said, snowball effect, right? So whether we're gonna be pessimists or optimists, that's for other fans to decide. I think I'm more on the neutral side here. Like whatever happens. But I think Man City definitely, this is a wake up call for them. And if they don't get their stuff together, then I don't see them competing for the Premier League nor the Champions League.
And honestly, to piggyback on that real quick, it's when you say he goes on these runs, I mean the competition level really hasn't been there like it has this year. And those runs he could really go on, they're not really available because he used to run over an Arsenal team, he used to run over a Manchester United team just because he was far better off than them, and his competition was Chelsea at a given time. But now that it's so spread out and there's really a more of an evil and a more of a level playing field in the Premier League, you can't really bank on those runs and those city teams to really wake up anymore, I feel like.
All right, guys. Well, obviously, next, a team that Man City is going to be facing this weekend. And again, relax. Wait, we're going to get to that game. Manchester United beats Charlton Athletic in the Carabao Cup 3-0. One goal from Anthony, two from Sir Marcus Rashford. So obviously, Eddie, I'm going to start with you. What did Manchester United do well in this game?
Oh man, it just looked like they went out there and just played free. I think they're really starting to understand each other and their as far as like movement and style of play. It's good to see Pellistri get out there and put on a man of the match performance like he did. And Marcus Rashford just keeps on scoring, right? Can't be stopped at the moment. You know, the coach really did a fine job of rotating some of these players, and even with the rotation, like the team looked, obviously above and beyond what Charlton Athletic could have produced. So they were never really in any danger. The game was always going to be under control, and 3-0.
JC, what did you think about this game?
And sum it up in one word: execution. You got a game plan, you got a big game that you're prepping for next week, but you got to take care of what's in front of you first. And opposite of the noisy neighbor in Manchester, we took care of business. A long 1-0 win till the back end in the 90th minute, when certain someone, per usual, likes to show up when the game's already written off. But a great goal from Anthony. One thing that really stuck out for me, I really didn't like, was Scott's comeback game. Was just, he was playing a different game. I really don't see like his vision, his final pass. Just almost every single pass he had was just off, and
Casemiro spoiled you.
Yeah,
that it's not really Casemiro spoiled you. It's just Scott really, he's just living off of that whole Manchester United academy thing, and riding off on that like a lot of players have been as of late. And thank you, Eric Ten Hag, for putting them in the bench when necessary, and bringing in the Casemiro, because there's a big hole to be filled there. But Fred to Anthony really kind of handled business, and like Eddie alluded to, Pay Steady, I think I'm saying it right. Great to see him on the pitch finally make that official debut. Like, really excited about him, and Garnacho making some great runs. But just handle business. Big game this weekend. On to the next.
Harry Maguire, Eddie, has been playing a little bit more often as of late. Do you feel like they're trying to integrate him back into maybe in the starting lineup?
Man, I don't necessarily think so. I think Ten Hag is just trying to get his last look at him before he green lights a transfer or a loan move outside of Manchester United. You can take a look at the pecking order for center backs. I think Luke Shaw has eclipsed him in that order. Obviously, we're not going to. Lisandro's been a stud since joining Manchester United. When healthy and fit, Varane, Rolls-Royce defender. So really, Harry Maguire is the odd man out, and I think Victor Lindelof can offer you a little bit more as far as playing from the back and having those outlets to the wingers and stuff that Harry Maguire just simply can't. So I think Ten Hag has finally realized that, hey, Harry Maguire is not the perfect player for our club, not the perfect player for us to move forward with. And I think if they were to secure a loan move for him in this January transfer window, I think that's going to benefit a lot of the team.
JC, are you happy that they were able to get this done, but at the same time rest a lot of their key players for that derby game this weekend?
100%, 100%. Definitely, you see the debut game also for Kobe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just to see him come out and really play his debut game and look lively was awesome. We were always known for debuting academy talent, but it was great to see. And the big scare was Dalot going out, because he was such a big part of the Portugal game. And but Wan-Bissaka came on lively, so that's going to be another guy just yelling to get put on the pitch. And every time he's come on to play, he's looking like that Crystal Palace Wan-Bissaka, that made his transfer go for I think a record fee at the time for a right back or something like that. Always an asterisk when United buys a player, but Maguire for sure, if they could secure a loan and get him out, it's going to be hopefully a better move for him. But definitely took care of business.
Eddie, why is Eric Ten Hag starting? Why is this team starting to get hot under Eric Ten Hag?
I think he's implemented a lot of discipline in the players, and I think his philosophy, people are buying into it, and they're starting to see the results. So they're starting to trust the manager. And when you start trusting your manager, you start believing what he's preaching, then you're going to run through a brick wall for him. We've seen that in the past for different managers throughout the Premier League, whether it's a Jose Mourinho with Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea, Liverpool, and Klopp. If you can get your players to buy in on what you're selling and what you're preaching, then everyone's all in and everyone's ready to reap those rewards. And those rewards really are winning the Premier League or just winning any title this season in general and bringing back some level of success back to Manchester United. And I think these are things you can build on. And for sure, it's an exciting time to be a Manchester United fan, and especially if you're a Marcus Rashford fan like I am. Excited for him to be the number one guy there, starting really soon.
JC, same question about Eric Ten Hag. What? Why are they succeeding right now?
Yeah, stick to the question, bro, please. Enough with the Rashford talk. But no, definitely, like he hit it right on the nose with that one. It definitely, it's the philosophy. He's not taking, no for an answer, and he doesn't care who you are, how high up you think you are on the pecking order. You all start from zero, and you have to earn your spot on the team. And you saw it when he benched Harry Maguire, England captain. He's a superstar when it comes to the England national team, but he's riding the bench on Manchester United for the same reason, because he's not fitting the scheme or he's not playing up to par. And a lot of it has to do with some of the pressures that are put on him when he comes to the club level and having to live up to those transfer prices that they pay for him, which is really the only problem against it. If his transfer wasn't that high, would you really be saying the things you're saying? Exactly. It'd just be, brushed under the rug, next man up, and here we are. But the Ten Hag philosophy is definitely starting to take place, and you see a lot of guys really just fighting for their spot, which is something that the team was really lacking, because there was a lot of guys getting paid a lot of money, Rashford being one of them, and not performing and living up to their wages. A lot of off the pitch stuff going on here and there, but he's definitely making guys earn their check. And if you're not playing right, you're going to the bench, and you love to see it.
Lisandro was on the Argentina national team, right?
Oh yeah, I think he won a World Cup, right?
Yeah, he didn't get a
No.
second team lineup and celebration and clapping and everything.
No, we're back to business here.
Oh, interesting. Obviously,
shots fired.
Ooh.
Eddie, just with Manchester United, it seems like with Eric Ten Hag, he has kind of an A team and a B team. It seems like he's making it work with both teams. I mean, has that kind of impressed you in the sense that they were able to go? I know it's only Charlton Athletic, but I mean, you saw Man City got upset by Southampton. But are you impressed that he's able to, whatever squad he sends out there, they fight hard and they play good, and they come out with the victory as of late?
Yeah, I mean, I think JC hit it right on the nose, right? He's not accepting mediocrity from anyone. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter what your transfer fee was. He's expecting everyone to be there competing every single day. And I think players are earning their spots every single week. I don't think Ten Hag is going into a game and saying, this is my starting 11 and I'm going to die with it. And like Ollie did, right? Remember Ollie when Ollie was a Manchester United manager, he always had a set 11 and he was dying by that 11, whether he won or he lost or he drew. But Ten Hag's not like that, right? Ten Hag is not afraid to make that big decision, whether it's benching a Rashford, benching a Maguire, letting Wan-Bissaka know that, you're on the chopping block if you don't start getting your act together. So, shout out to Ten Hag. Definitely revitalized Manchester United. Looks like the culture's changing. And like I said, if you're a Manchester United fan, there's a lot of things to be excited about.
So, according to Google, Christmas is 348 days away. Why is Fernando mentioning this? Because it's Christmas for me today. Because we get to talk about Marcus Rashford, and obviously, Marcus Rashford has scored 7 goals in 6 games. Is this sustainable for him? Who wants to go first? I think JC wants to go first.
I think JC wants to go first.
I think JC. Okay, JC, you go first. Is this sustainable for him?
I think we have a visual here for this, right?
Oh,
this is, nothing against the guy. He's finally showing up and doing what he's supposed to do and playing decent football. But the only thing I have with this all is look at who he's scoring against. And I've said it before, bottom feeder teams, Lukaku 2.0, Burnley, really in the same, cup we're playing Charlton in, Nottingham Forest, Wolverhampton, Bournemouth, Everton. Come on, like we're really making more of this than we have to. Did he score the goal? Yes. Netted him quality goals. Depends who you're asking, really.
But don't you think this is good for him going into the derby?
And that's what I'm saying. He's coming in with a full head of steam. Now he's finally going to be playing quality opposition. He's finally going to be in a position to really show his little celebration or whatever Instagram post, a million characters he wants to put up, and really, cash in the check. He's writing a big check. It's time to cash it come Saturday. I want to see him, versus those teams, versus a Man City, versus a Chelsea, versus an Arsenal. I want to see him do these performances consistently against them, and that's really the only falling out I've ever had with Rashford. I used to call the guy Rashnaldo for the same reason, because he was playing this quality football for a young player, 19, 20, just bursting onto the scene, literally bursting onto the scene. His first game was a Man City game. This is like, if there was ever a time to do it, to shut me up, to get me to give this guy a pat in the back for a quality performance, it's now or never. Do I think he'll do it? Historically, he's shown me no. Historically, every time it's a big game, the guy's anonymous. And he comes on and he scores a late goal and everybody loses their mind when the game's over. You're giving him too much credit for these 7 goals, I feel like. But now it's time to cash in that check that you're writing.
Eddie, what do you think? Is this sustainable for him? Or you can respond to JC, whichever
it's definitely
one you
sustainable, but I just think JC is just out of pocket saying, like, these goals that don't matter. Like, obviously, he's come on against Wolves. The goals obviously matter. The goal he scored there mattered. He came on against Everton, who you were bragging about last time,
opposition,
and showed up.
Quality of opposition.
He's looking like that Rashford when he first bursted onto the scene under Louis van Gaal, where he was fearless. He was taking players on. He was using his pace. And that was a lot stronger. So
you got a little something right here.
Tip on my chip. But he's riding a high, and why? Who's going to stop him right now? Only himself. So, this is great for Manchester United, especially going into this derby. Seeing that Man City just lost a big game in the cup, and we're riding high, and I think it's disrespectful for people like J.C. to start questioning this and questioning his form, when, as a Manchester United fan, we've been begging for this to happen. We've been wanting Rashford to show up and do these things, because we know he's capable of doing these things. So, yeah, I mean, JC, I don't know what you're talking about. Rashford, can he sustain the form? Absolutely. And, again, this is going to be a big test coming up over the weekend.
JC?
You can't play Charlton every week, my guy. You're playing a real team finally, and you scored on bottom feeder teams already, and on to the next.
You're hyping Harry Kane for scoring against Crystal Palace, but then Rashford scores, and now it's just it's another bottom feeder team. Come on, guy.
Look at the list. Look at the list. Who on that team is quality?
Make up your mind.
Name the quality teams. Name the quality teams on the list.
Let me tell you this: without Rashford scoring against Wolves, without Rashford scoring and getting it going against Bournemouth, without Rashford doing these things, we're not talking about Manchester United and the team finally finding cohesion and working. Maybe we're talking about, is Ten Hag the problem? Why isn't he getting the best out of his players?
Yeah, so Casemiro wasn't holding the midfield and nominated for a Player of the Month nominee. Bruno's not playing lights out.
So is Rashford.
Bruno's not playing lights out. Eriksen's not playing lights out. Lisandro, Wan-Bissaka. There's things to talk about. There's more to like.
Question when Cristiano Ronaldo left, and who was gonna start banging in the goals for Manchester United? We don't have another striker. Martial is done.
We do now.
He doesn't produce anything. We'll get to that, but so come on now, give him some credit.
He scored on bottom feeder teams. Yeah, golf clap. But now we're gonna play a real team. Here we go. They got a chip on their shoulder. They just
let's not throw back to like 5 years ago when Pogba gave an assist to a bottom feeder team, or against a bottom feeder team, and you were here hyping it like Pogba, and you're right here.
He's the one.
Don't start.
Completely honest question: is Pogba back or no? Has he been playing with Juve?
Okay, he's not back yet.
Look at how did he get injured?
Yeah,
by
kneeling
himself.
at the
Oh.
French trainings
Come on, man. I'm
when he went to
sorry.
go train with France. He injured his knee.
Yeah, I'm
Anybody
sorry.
got
That's not.
any more about Marcus
No,
Rashford or?
this enough. Just re-show the visual bottom teams. Lukaku 2.0. Let's go play a
All
real
right.
team now.
Well, obviously we've been talking about it. We've been
Why?
hinting at it. The Derby, the Manchester Derby, is on Saturday at 4:30 a.m. local time, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. Obviously, you're gonna have to get up early for this one. JC already is
Yeah,
taking is
the
trying
cold
to
out
get.
my ass. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Clean out of your eyes. Wake up early to get this one. I think I don't know what you guys said before we even preview the game. Eddie, I'm going to start off with you. I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
BS that these guys that they have this game at 4:30 in the morning when they know it's such a big game and obviously
Oh
fans want to
man,
watch it around the
it's
world.
completely disregard for us fans over here on the other side of the pond.
When they get a lot of
You
viewers from
know,
this side.
well, when their TV deal is from NBC, so
Exactly.
NBC needs to do better. Obviously, if you're in the East Coast, I don't think that's bad of a timing. 7:30 a.m. That's a good time, right? But if you're over here, Pacific time, it's horrible, right? It's the
Yeah.
World Cup all over again for us. So
Oof.
I'll be up. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's unfortunate for the time.
JC, what do you think?
Same. I would hope that it was a later game, 7, 8 a.m. It would have
Prime
been a
time,
lot
man.
better prime time, for them.
9:30
But
a.m. You know.
but yeah, it sucks. 4:30
I
a.m.
remember
It doesn't
Real
float my
Madrid,
boat.
the last Real Madrid and Barcelona in like 2018 or 19 played at 4:30 in the morning at Clásico, and everybody was up in arms in the United States, and they finally changed it and they said, okay, Clásicos will only be in 7 in the morning or now 11 or 12. They're not going to do those early ones because people want to watch it over here. So
Yeah.
hoping that this
And
happens,
from a
but
neutral standpoint, when you see how both teams are coming in, and then you got
yeah,
to wake up at 4 a.m. to watch these guys just duke it out. The Baldico, what did we call it earlier?
The Baldico.
The
yeah.
Baldico, the second showing of the Baldico, right? But nah, it sucks to see. I don't want to sound like a selfish American football fan, but you know, eh, do us a favor, BPL. Just 7, 8.
They're probably like your guys' playoff games are at night for NFL football,
Yeah,
and
right.
we get them early in the
You have
morning.
They're
to
So
probably
watch
I
them
talking
at
about like the
3 a.m.
basketball games are like at 3 in the morning too and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
They say
Well,
the
nobody
same
watches
thing about
basketball
us.
anymore.
Yeah.
JC, what? Tell me about this. Tell me about this game. I mean, obviously, it's a huge matchup. It's been a big matchup for years and years. But just tell me what's going to be key for Manchester United in this game.
Um, Execute. They got to really come out with a game plan and stick to it and make sure they don't overplay like they did the first time around. I feel like Man City exposed a lot of the holes that Eric Ten Hag was trying to fix, and he knew exactly how to attack and where to go through, and just caught him on the press a few times. And unfortunately, United really just started off, and you started getting all those Ten Hag rumors. Is he going to fix this? Is he going to that? And they're coming in with a head full of steam, and there's so many things to talk about. Defense, midfield, the matchups are there. Forwards, Man City really has that chip on the shoulder from losing. It's a big test. It's a big test for both teams because if United wins, they're going to start clearing points for the top four. Man City wins, then they're catching up to Arsenal. That you could spin this a million ways, but my favorite is once they blow that whistle, anything can happen in those 90 minutes.
Eddie, what does Manchester City need to do to win this game?
Not overthink it. Trust that the
A lot of
game plan that
ideas.
has been working for them continues to work. They
You
should hope that they get the ball to Holland and Holland can find the back of the net.
you
I think the game is really gonna depend on on Kevin De Bruyne and whether or not
it
Kevin
was
De
waiting.
Bruyne is
Oh, there it is.
as influential as he is in other games, or is Casemiro and Bruno gonna be pests and just stop him from dictating the play of the game. And so there's a lot of things to look forward to. Besides, Jason's biggest question whether Rashford's going to keep firing or not.
I didn't even bring it up. That was you.
So, so yeah, I mean, we're excited. Anything can happen in the Premier League. Again, if Manchester United end up winning, they're cutting the deficit on not only Man City but possibly Arsenal. So anything can happen.
JC, for Manchester United, what's who are you starting at up top?
Up top, I mean, you obviously left or right. You got to go with the surefire scorer, Marcus Rashford, right? Striker. It's tough to tell who you're going to play in that 9 hole. You really don't have many other options other than Martial at the moment. I wish we had something more to offer than that, but
Do you think they'll
he'll
do something
probably.
before the transfer window?
I mean, they supposedly already closed out on Weghorst, but either way, he's not going to be playing this game, so that's really nothing to kind of get too hyped about. I'm glad that they're signing him on a loan and not really committing to purchasing him. I think as a loan, it's a solid play, but on the right, yeah, I feel like Anthony showed up pretty all right the first time, but his first game and all that stuff. So he did just score a goal, so he kind of raised his hand and is yelling to get the start. So Anthony and Rashford on the sides in the striker position, probably Martial, but I wish we had a better option at striker.
Sancho, do you think Sancho will play in this game?
Oh, bro, it'd be good to see him come off the bench. I really think he'd offer a big thing, a big headache for Man City because he's a guy that I feel could always play that false nine role, and he could really hold the play up. He knows, dribbling past players. He's shown it at Borussia. He's shown it on the England national team. He sees the game differently than a lot of other players do, and he's always cool under pressure, and that's probably my favorite characteristic about him.
Just to finish up with you, who are your center backs going into this game?
Ooh, that's going to be a solid pairing, but I'd like to see Lisandro and Shaw. I really think that
Oh,
that would
really?
be my
Not Varane?
go-to. I don't think he's match fit. I
Mm.
think he's been sitting out the last couple of games because he's potentially nursing an injury. And the only reason why I said not Varane is because I don't want to waste a sub on a center back, and then you just lose the whole game plan based off of one player going out because you definitely set up your game and you play a specific way when you start Varane, and you play very different when you start a Luke Shaw. And I don't think Man City's really going to start big guys in the back. I think they'll try to be quick, they'll try to be shifty, and they'll try to stay agile. But I think Shaw and Lisandro would be my 1-2 punch right now.
What are your left and right back then?
On the left, Malasia, the guy I tried to preview him but for the World Cup, but Louis Van Gaal wouldn't hear me yelling over here. The guy's been, lights out, and just the way he pushes up the field is it's crazy. He goes, gets wide, runs back and forth. He had a great game versus Charlton from an aggression standpoint, sliding into tackles, flying around, just getting loose on the ball. And on the right, Wan-Bissaka, that man, he's playing aggressive. He's playing lights out. He knows he's got that chip on his shoulder, and the spider.
Eddie, I'm gonna let you respond. I heard you go wow when he said Luke Shaw and Lisandro, so I'm gonna let
He
you
Yeah.
won.
respond to that.
He wanted Maguire.
No. I think you have the formation all wrong. I think he's playing with three at the back, and I think he's playing Varane, Lisandro, and Shaw. And then he's playing Wan-Bissaka on the right and Malacia on the left. And then he's playing with two holders and Ericsson and Casemiro. And then Bruno through the center. And then I think he's playing with two strikers up top in Rashford. And, don't be surprised if he starts Garnacho over Martial. So,
So now moving on to the Man City. If you're Man City, what are you going with as your center backs?
oof, I mean, that's tough, right? Um, I think Akanji has to get in there. I think he's been pretty solid since he's come on for Manchester City, um, and you might play someone like John Stones, who, I think John Stones has shown that he can lead the line for Man City. We've seen the game against Chelsea. He was a complete stud. He had that one tackle that injured Christian Pulisic,
It was
which, by the
50-50.
way, I thought the tackle was
It's
completely
clean,
clean and valid.
100%.
Nothing to take away from it. So yeah, I think you pair Kanji with John Stones, and then you play Nathan Ake on one side, and then on the other side, I think you play Joao Cancelo.
Real quick, who are
Wow, no
your
Walker for you, huh?
who are your right and left wing?
Man, that's tough. I would love to see Jack Grealish get a shot at starting the game and starting such a big game like this one. When he's able to play freely and when he's able to play his game, there's only a few players in the Premier League that can stop him. So if it's me, I'm going with Jack Grealish on one side, and on the other side, it's tough, man. I think you want to go to Julian Alvarez to see if his pace can cause any trouble, and I think you go with Holland through the middle.
Who wins?
The bias to me wants to say Manchester United, but I think I'm gonna sit on the fence on this one. I'm gonna call it a draw.
All right, JC,
Which one? Who wins or who's starting?
who wins?
Let's do it, boys. Let's cash this check. United.
Well, you have a score or just United?
Oh, United. United by one.
All right, there
By
you
the
go.
minimal. By the
I'm gonna
minimal
go with Eddie.
difference.
I'm gonna go with Eddie. I'll say it's a tie, just because I feel like that's kind of where they're leaning at in this game. All right, so obviously that has been your Manchester Derby preview, guys. Let's move over to the FA Cup, where there was a controversial decision that handed Liverpool a tie against the Wolves 2-2. JC, can you talk a little bit about that?
Nunez with a masterclass finish. Finally, right, shows up versus a Wolves defense who really doesn't have too much going on. But it kind of proved the point that when he's not thinking and he's just shooting, he can score a goal. But no, you hate to see Wolves kind of get knocked out of this. They could really use a win these days, based on how the team morale is going. But the Premier League, the VAR, it's a love-hate relationship. I don't get it. Uncalibrated VAR or whatever they called it. You hate to see it because Wolves really was playing a quality game. They had a lot of attacks. They missed a lot of goals, and Liverpool just kind of looked lost again. The same thing, it's the reoccurring theme that midfield just keeps getting ran over, and they're just essentially launching long balls from the back to the front, and they're skipping that whole middle part of the field. So, on to the next, I guess, and they're going to play the replay right soon. So FA Cups really don't end as draws.
Eddie, what did you think about this game?
It's unfortunate that the Wolves had to tie the game on a bogus VAR call. In my opinion, I thought the striker was clearly onside the entire time. But it was an open game. It was a pretty abysmal game defensively from both sides. I think both sides didn't really show a lot defensively. But going forward, there's a lot of chances. Like JC hinted at, if Darwin Núñez can do that week in and week out, then maybe he'll start justifying his price tag. And what a finish that was, and what a pass from Trent. But
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
boy.
I mean, he ain't my boy, but that was a beautiful ball. But honestly, you expected a little more from Liverpool, right? The Premier
Always.
League hasn't been going as well. They're not playing that great, hard metal football that Klopp is known for. So a draw to me seems almost like a loss, right? Like JC hinted, there's a replay coming up soon. But again, there's a lot to left desired for if you're a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. All right, let's move now on. Are you guys good with this? Moving on.
On to the
Let's move on
next.
to La Liga, where Real Madrid lost to
Mm.
Villarreal. Barcelona beats Atletico 1-0. Barca take a 3-point lead in La Liga. Eddie, your thoughts on what happened this weekend between the two clubs?
Yeah, there's a slight lead, right, in La Liga, and right now we can't say that Barcelona have been like completely dominant. We were watching a cup game, a Spanish Copa del Rey game, where they were struggling against what's the team name? Inter FC
Valencia.
or some? No, they were struggling against some other team.
Last week. Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like an extremely amateur team. Um, and they had to get bailed out in the last, in the first half of the extra time. But yeah, we're not going to sit here and say that Barcelona have shown complete dominance throughout the season. I still think that this Barcelona team is going to crumble eventually. All it takes for them to crumble, honestly, for the house of cards to fall, is for Dembele to go down, because it seems like that's their star man. So if Dembele goes down, I think this Barcelona team goes down. Um, I think we're all in agreement here that we don't believe that Xavi is the correct one to lead this Barcelona team. There's talks that maybe Thomas Tuchel is waiting in the wing to take over if that were to be the case. But it's unfortunate if you're a Real Madrid fan. But it's just a hiccup for you. Ancelotti will get the boys back firing, and I don't see Barcelona creating such a large lead just because Madrid dropped points over the week.
JC, what do you think?
Same. Efecto Xavi got his first place lead. Maybe they'll extend his contract a little bit and keep everybody in the seats happy. But a tale of two games. This is football. sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And in the words of the Valencia coach, Gattuso, sometimes good, sometimes, you guys know the saying. But definitely Madrid here, you see come out with an all-star lineup versus Villarreal team that played very hard. That you really can't overlook them too much. They're going to steal a point here and there from the top clubs. So not the biggest surprise, per se. But definitely, Barcelona finding their stride, quote unquote, because you watch a game like the Copa del Rey game where they get a hat trick netted on them, and then they come back and beat Atletico team that's really kind of falling apart. The locker room, I feel like really mentally isn't there, and they just took advantage of a great opportunity that they had in front of them. And the opposite side from Madrid, you see a few guys coming off. I think because of an injury, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't Mendy
Yeah,
come out
David
hurt, and then
Alaba, Tchouaméni.
guys just dropping like flies out there, and we haven't even hit a stride. But is this the World Cup effect? A lot of things to be asked about here. Because Alaba was there, not there training. Who knows? Mendy always injured. Tchouaméni, that was a big one for me. But he played a lot of games for France, so you kind of don't know what to make of it because of the World Cup also.
I think also for somebody like him, I mean, he's getting used to playing against two of the best midfielders in the world. So I think he's still getting acclimated to that. If I'm not mistaken. So I feel like that kind of takes a little bit of time. I mean, literally, Casemiro, Kroos, and Modric, they could read each other's minds basically on the pitch. So I think that's kind of what's happening here is that he's still learning. He's still getting. I think the team is still kind of learning how to play with each other and not having Casemiro there, and they're still used to that. And then obviously the back line, he went with Militao, Mendy. Like he had no right back. He went with Militao, and I feel like Militao really doesn't like playing right back. I think he's naturally a center back.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. But yeah, I mean, also Atletico, what's going on here? A red card that was, for me, a little controversial. I don't know if you guys saw it. They were both wrestling down on the floor. How do you give a red card to one guy and not the
That's
other?
crazy.
Lord forbid, Fernando Torres has to miss 3 games, and what's Xavi going to do next?
Sure,
you
typical
know,
Sunday league play, right, where both players get
yeah,
sent off. Those who
yep,
are listening, you know what we're talking about.
yeah.
So yeah, controversial for sure.
Is there obviously is there is there a little bit of cause for concern for Real Madrid right now? I mean, they haven't looked good since coming back from the World Cup. Do you feel like it's just one of those lulls, Eddie, where it's going to take them maybe a little bit to wake up?
Yeah, it's just one of those lows. And Ancelotti's no stranger to how to handle them and get the best out of the players again. So if you're a Madrid fan, I don't be too worried. Like I said, don't bank on Barcelona extending their lead on top of the La Liga. Don't bank on
Lock,
Xavi,
lock.
winning this league. I can give you that lock right now. You heard it here first. Um,
Breaking
Again, I think,
news.
yeah, their season really depends on whether Dembele can keep being their star player or if he's going to keep seeing the medical treatment. So yeah, no, if you're a Madrid fan, relax.
So we've been talking for the last couple of weeks about transfer talk and everything. Well, now Enzo Fernandez, who was a big part of what Argentina was able to do at the World Cup, a lot of their success, that and some other controversial things, but we won't get into that. Enzo has decided to stay at Benfica, and he will not be heading to Chelsea or to Liverpool or anywhere else. JC, I'm gonna start with you. What did you make of this news?
Honestly, it's not surprising. If I were any team anywhere in the world, and if I were in charge of, if I were a sporting director for anybody, they are absolutely mental if they think anybody's going to pay that ransom note for Enzo
Yeah,
Fernandez, because that's
ransom.
all it is. That is a ransom note, 130 million. I don't even know where you come up with that number. His market value as far as
You have a
selling
dartboard
jerseys.
and you just throw darts at it and be like,
Yeah,
okay, that's gonna be
like
the
let's
chance.
spin a wheel.
Yeah.
Nunez 100 mil. Let's get
For Benfica,
130 for
right? Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
that's the Benfica tax, baby. Joao
Yeah,
Felix and
another one.
Nunez, and now Enzo was gonna be number 3. So I think it was a ridiculous ransom note in his celebration. I think today or yesterday or the day before, whenever they played, he's celebrating, telling the crowd he's here to stay. But nobody's going to pay that ransom note in their right mind. His market value isn't there for selling jerseys and making commercials if they want to justify it that way. His goal scoring ability isn't there. What he does isn't just of 130 million.
Eddie, what did you think about this news?
I called it right. I don't think he was leaving. I think the more the funnier news is that the Benfica basically came out and saying stop disrespecting us, and they called out Chelsea.
They did.
Basically, they didn't name them.
85.
I think Coach
85.
Schmidt called them out, saying, "Hey, like stop disrespecting us." The club president and Rui Costa has been very firm that he's only going if you pay the release clause. We're not entertaining any offers for 85, 90, whatever it may be. Again, and they've been pretty firm at it, and they stuck to their guns. I always thought that he wasn't going to leave in the January transfer window. I thought he'll leave during summer. But yeah, Enzo scored. He reminded the Benfica faithful that he's staying for the season, and we move on.
Eddie, Joao Felix moves to Chelsea in a transfer, or not in a transfer, sorry, in a loan. What do you make of that?
Get a loan.
what do you make of Joao moving to Chelsea, and do you think it'll spark Chelsea and Potter, or do you feel like Potter's the problem?
I mean, he's moving from one dysfunctional team to another. So really, I mean, let's call it what it is. Right?
It is.
They're both dysfunctional right now, and whether Joao's going to be able to revitalize his Chelsea front line and spark something in Potter to have the boys playing like he had them playing at Brighton. I don't know. I don't think so. I think the biggest news from this is that he re-signed with Atletico until 2027. Obviously, that's for Atletico to protect themselves and not get burnt from a potential transfer coming up this summer. But again, I'm not a huge fan of this move. If I'm being honest with you, I don't think this was the correct situation for him to move to and get a loan move at. Again, the team is completely dysfunctional. I think Graham Potter's already under a lot of scrutiny and fire. And this Chelsea team just looks, miles off from what Thomas Tuchel left it at. So, we'll see what happens.
J.C., what happens with Christian Pulisic now? What's going to happen with him? Is he still going to?
Don't be that
guy. No. You can't blame Pulisic for that. He unfortunately.
No, I'm asking. Do you feel like he's still going to get time, even though Joao Felix comes in?
Different. No, I mean he's going to be out for a couple months. He came.
Oh, is he? I didn't even know.
He's out for a couple months. He came in at a 50-50 tackle, and unfortunately, in those plays, whoever gets soft first is going to be the one that's going to suffer the most. And Stones came in, and Pulisic just. You can't blame him. It's one of those plays where, those things happen. That's football. And to answer the question and to move on from Captain America, we'll even be for a little bit because there's a lot of controversy there. But no, I think Mr. Potter's in trouble. And I think this is honestly just the new Chelsea ownership trying to keep people calm. You've seen similar tactics like this from United, just throwing a name out there to make a splash to keep everybody calm. But you literally went from needing maybe 1-2 players, 3 at most under Thomas, to now needing a whole new team with Potter, apparently. Mm-hmm. And I never liked the signing of Potter. I've watched Chelsea closely. My brother's a big fan, so we're always watching those games. So, it kind of sucks to see because you really like to see what Thomas was doing in the competition level. And Joao to Chelsea, I don't know. That's a big switch up to go from La Liga to Premier mid-season. It could go down as one of those things that's kind of like, what are you thinking? I feel like Atletico promised Joao the world with that extension and letting them know, maybe a certain coach is leaving soon, so you don't have to worry about that style, and we'll make you our focal point onto the next season. But I think Potter's a problem here, just because the pressure. I don't think he was ready for the move. Could he have been a good coach? Maybe. He made some strides with Brighton, but I feel like it was too big of a jump too soon. And I really think for somebody to manage a team like Chelsea, and I think Mourinho came out and said midweek, it's not an easy club to manage. It is not an easy club to manage, and there's standards there, and they don't lower them from anybody. And, when you look at their history, they deserve more.
Obviously, you guys talked about it about the dysfunction at Atletico. There's rumors that Diego Simeone, well, not rumors now. They're saying that Diego
Shocker.
Simeone will be leaving Atletico at the end of the year, at the end of the season. He's been there for years and years, uh,
10 plus.
10 plus. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of shortcomings in his career. Eddie, what do you think? What do you make of this move?
I think it's the right time to part ways. Every good thing must come to an end.
This was
Cholo
good.
Simeone will go down as one of the greatest managers to ever manage Atleti. Um, credit where credit is due. He got a La Liga in a time where Madrid and Barcelona were so dominant. He took them to, I want to say, back-to-back Champions League finals. Unfortunately, he suffered heartbreak. Right, I think they won a Europa League. So there's a lot of highs as lows to any managerial career, but I think Cholo Simeone really stamped his philosophy on this Atletico team for many years. And we always knew what to expect from a Cholo Simeone team. They're going to bunker down, and they're going to get one of five chances at most, but they're going to be clinical when they're up there, right? So let's not forget he did give us great teams. I want to say specifically that 2013-14 team was unbelievable, right? Or 14-15, if I'm not mistaken, one of those. But we've seen an end of an era. So right move for Atletico if they're trying to keep a hold of Joao and trying to cater to him. And I think good move for Simeone, and let's see what's going to happen next with him.
He used to know how to hype up Cristiano Ronaldo too, and Cristiano would just light his ass up. JC, where do you think he heads to next?
Um, I think we broke it in the group chat. Italy seems to be like the best fitting league for him. I think he's due for a break. I don't think he needs to rush into anything, honestly. Just hey, wait it out. If Pochettino waited it out and he never won anything, uh,
Yeah,
and I think I
and he's
think
still
Wow.
um,
waiting it out.
I think Diego, I think Diego offers you a little bit more of a better resume, and just kind of sparked a thought in my head. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him at Chelsea. The way he plays English style football. He aggressive, box to box, everybody run, high press, a lot of this, a lot of that. And I think his play style could either fit an Italian league or now that I just thought about it, he could be replacing Potter. Who knows? But I feel like, to touch on what Eddie said, and I've said it before, the only problem Cholo Simeone ever had was that Real Madrid and Barcelona were in La Liga at the same time he was the head coach. Because honestly, those teams he put up, they were quality teams, man. And they didn't really have a lot of superstars, which is the thing I always kind of like the most.
Yeah,
I think his only superstar he really had that you can call a superstar was Griezmann, and that was about it. You had
Blue collar players, right?
exactly a lot of guys coming up through the ranks who bleed that crest, and you love to see teams show up the way Atletico shows up for their crest. And you really hang your head high when they give their 110%, and that's why the teams never stop showing up, and they haven't turned their back on Cholo Simeone because he's an Atletico guy through and through. But his only thing, he had to face a peak Cristiano. He had to face a peak Messi, a Neymar, a Suarez. You can go down the list, bro. And if you would have put that guy in a different era, if Cholo Simeone would have started Atletico now, oh, you'd be seeing Madrid just football, La Liga. That'd be it because it'd be Madrid, Atletico versus Real, nonstop. Barca,
yeah,
see you later.
I agree. Speaking of taking time off and golfing and not really putting much effort towards anything,
Oh,
Oh no,
Gareth
he
oh
didn't
Bale
no,
care.
has
don't.
decided
Disrespectful
to
guy.
call it
Golf
quits
is a lot
at
more difficult
33
than you
years
think it is, all
old.
right?
At 33 years old, which is incredible. I mean, you feel like the guy still maybe could have something left to give to, I don't know, an MLS team or something, but I guess he's done. He's retired. He's made all that money. JC, what's the former Tottenham, Real Madrid, and LAFC man's legacy?
Honestly, no, you know I'm a a Gareth Bale fan, bro. I've liked the guy since he tore up Mike on at Spurs, and I hate to see that because that's one of the guys I consider to be a legends of the game and one of the best players in that position. Like he redefined that position, and to see Bale just running wild, it was crazy. And I think another guy who you really kind of put an asterisk on, because what would have been if Cristiano wouldn't have existed and we would have had Gareth Bale, because everybody was calling him Cristiano 2.0, and that's why Mourinho was so gung-ho on the move. And why not have both of those guys together? And the transfer target and the transfer price really was the biggest problem for him, I would say, because had he not gone for a record signing fee, would we be saying that? Hey, there you go. I knew you'd love to bring that up. He won you a cup. Don't be so mad at him. And he won you another cup. Didn't he? Didn't he become Liverpool? Didn't he beat Liverpool? Liverpool was the MVP for that Champions League as well.
Liverpool.
So I'm just saying.
Look at this. Look
Gareth
at this.
Bale deserves a lot of work. The guy, he's a specimen.
Yeah.
He definitely deserves respect. I wouldn't go as far as calling him a complete legend, 100%. Use of the term. I would never say that, but
You'd
I
call him
think
a complete legend.
I would never.
No, not you. Eddie would.
No,
We'll get there.
I wouldn't call him a complete legend in every sense of the word. I feel like he did leave his stamp in the game, and his work needs to be recognized. But to call him a legend, that's a stretch, because that word is for, at least for me. A lot of people like to throw it around loosely because you can score 7 goals versus cheap teams and call him a legend. But being a Champions League MVP,
I'll tell you why I call him a legend.
I'm with. Hey, you're all for it, but I wouldn't call him a legend. I call him a great, yes, but a legend. Legends live forever. I think Gareth Bale, you'll be like, oh yeah, he was there on that team, right? I don't think you really,
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's for me. That's me. He's great. I respect the guy. I'm a fan of him. Do I call him a legend? Hey, golf is hard. Golf is not easy. Trust me. I've been there.
Eddie?
Gareth Bale, for me, outstanding player in the Premier League, really broke out from, I think, Southampton.
Bursted onto the scene.
Yeah, as a left back, and then, had his move to Spurs. Even played with Luka Modric there for a bit. But, the reason I would call Gareth Bale a legend is because let's just look at his international career, right, with Wales. He took them on that amazing run in Euro 2016. And then he actually got them qualified for a World Cup, right? So I think that was a headline going into the World Cup, like, oh, look, Wales back in the World Cup after 40 plus years, right? And we give that same credit to Ronaldo. So when we talk about Ronaldo in Portugal, since Ronaldo has played for Portugal, they qualify for every single World Cup. So in that terms, yeah, I think, Gareth Bale, as a Welshman, he's a legend for sure. He's up there, right up there with Ryan Giggs, Ian Rush, for me. And then when it comes to Madrid, I think he did leave a legacy, right? 5 Champions Leagues, Champions League MVP when he was being disrespected by Zidane, coming off and
no, that wasn't disrespectful.
2 goals. I would say it was a little disrespectful. I'm a Zidane fan. And I would say it was a little disrespectful.
He broke his record and he got upset.
First season,
he was on the bench.
The first season he got there,
he
was hurt.
That's the worst part.
He won Madrid that Copa del Rey, that crazy goal when he outran Marc Bartra.
Back when we were in high school. Yeah.
And he scored that crazy goal, right?
Back when we were in high school, back when we were in college. Yeah, he did
When we talk about Gareth Bale, he's been there in certain moments and throughout his career where they're asking for someone else to step up. Cristiano's not firing today. We need someone else to step up. Gareth Bale has been that guy, man. And, as much as you want to say, maybe we're not going to go ahead and label him a Tottenham legend, right? We're not going to go ahead and do that. But we can definitely say he's a legend of Wales. I think he's a legend of the game, especially in the Champions League. And I think, for a certain extent, he is a legend of Real Madrid. So, as much as you shake your head and say no, I think you're in the minority, guys. So, for sure, Gareth Bale, hats off to you, mate.
The guy's going to get his flowers now because he decided to retire. But if
when
we
they
really
open a Top Golf right here in San Diego, come visit us and
we'll come through. I'll greet you here.
A couple of clubs here.
I'm sure he'll come out here. I mean, obviously, everybody likes to play at Torrey Pines. Everybody likes to play at Torrey Pines.
I'll pitch him a basketball.
Shout out Gareth.
You know,
He's all. I mean, I don't know if I can't call him a legend. He had 2 really good games for Real Madrid, and
Oh
then
my
other than that,
God.
I
He
just
won
remember him.
LAFC a cup. Like, come on now. Like, let's go.
I just remember
and not just any old cup, not just
You
any old cup.
know,
Okay.
he sat on his ass for 3 seasons
And
and
then every
collected a
time he
fat
showed up,
paycheck.
he was
let's say,
lights out.
okay,
And
his
Like,
that's why I got
injuries,
pissed
his injuries really
I
like,
got
you
pissed when
know,
they re-signed
but
him after 2007. I'm like, what are you giving him a
because
contract
they
extension
know what he
for?
means to the team. Hey, and
He
didn't he
doesn't
win an
mean
MLS Cup?
nothing.
Didn't he win an MLS
What?
Cup?
yeah,
And he
come on
scored
now.
actually in the final.
On
So
both sides of the
Come on
pond.
now. When
On
the
both
team
sides of the
needs someone
pond, bro.
to score a goal, Gareth Bale's there. Don't
scrubs.
forget, it was Gareth
Bale.
Bale that was feeding Ronaldo when they played Bayern and they smoked Bayern. Come
Oh,
on,
yeah.
man. Don't be so
When?
disrespectful to the guy, all right?
Oh, when? Okay.
All
Oh,
right.
you know exactly
All right.
when.
Gareth Bale could
Y'all,
have scored one of those goals on his own, but he laid it off like a smart person and gave it to
Exactly.
Ronaldo, who he almost
Unselfish.
missed. Almost missed. That was almost missed, but you know.
Hey, you
I
asked
guess.
Guardiola about Gareth Bale, all right?
All right, last one before we head out of
Let's
here.
go.
I got to ask you about this. The next manager of
Oh,
Mexico.
come on, Mandem.
Hey,
We're
you
gonna
heard
leave
it
on
here
this
first on our
note.
pod.
Hey,
I hope
y'all
you
are
guys
trying to
remember that.
y'all are over here talking about Gareth Bale. Blah. I'm gonna hit you guys with this one.
Oh, yeah, you're a
Supposedly
fan.
Piojo is gonna be the next. No, I really don't care. I've come to terms with what Mexican soccer is, and it's a disappointment all around. So there's rumors that Piojo is going to be the
Breaking
next manager
news.
of Mexico. I remember when he punched that camera guy or that reporter for what do you call his daughter?
Hey, not just
something,
any old
and
guy. Not just any old guy, okay?
who
The
did he punch?
reporter.
Daughter attacked the
Oh yeah.
reporter, and then
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. So Eddie, what does this
Shout out
mean for the
Martinoli.
what does this
yeah.
mean for the
Great
future of
reporter, by the way.
Mexican soccer?
Who wants to start?
You.
Well, honestly, look, it might come as a shock, but I think it's bringing back some level of consistency to the Mexican national team. I think the times that the time that Piojo was there and in charge, we were not having discussions and debates about the drama that was surrounding the team.
Yeah,
More
Carlos
so,
Vela back.
we were discussing too many commercials. So again, I think it'll bring some level of stability. Piojo does like players from our Liga MX. He does play local talent when available.
He watches
Um,
Liga MX. Oh my
he
god.
watches Liga MX. He coaches
Wow.
in Liga MX, right? So a lot of pundits have hinted at that Piojo is going to become the next manager. Again, I was under the impression that maybe they bring back a La Volpe if they're
Oh,
bringing and recycling old coaches.
Bro, that's recycled like
oh my
You
god.
know,
that guy.
well, I mean,
That
I
is
still think La
used
Volpe has
and
a lot more
abused.
pedigree than Piojo, right? What did
Well,
Piojo do at Tigres? Tigres, one of the most expensive squads in Liga MX, and he couldn't hack it there. So, as much
he
as we
almost
talk about
broke up the
Piojo this and
locker room.
Piojo that, if you're a America fan, you're probably extremely happy to see this. If you are remotely remembering no era penal in 2014,
That
you're a
was his
fan
fault.
because you thought he was gonna get Mexico over the hump.
I blame him for
Um,
that.
if you're a neutral fan, it's not a splash signing. If you're a U.S. fan, I think you're not looking forward to facing a Piojo team. So,
JC, what do you think?
Hey, way to just soft toss me that one. No, honestly, I think when we were asked who should coach, part of the resume was number one, let him be Mexican, right? So we can feel that, and no coach has, in recent memory, felt more proud of a Mexican side than Piojo has. You remember him celebrating those goals that they scored and those celebrations. I hope you got the GIF
memes.
on standby because those
Yeah.
things are gold till this day. But no, definitely there it is.
There you go.
There it
There
is.
you
Yeah.
go.
Oh, shout out Azteca. Shout out
Oh,
Azteca.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Best
There you
broadcast.
go.
No, but I think this kind of alludes to the number one problem with the Mexican Federation altogether. Televisa runs the league, and they're quick to put one of their guys in front. They're the same ones who made the call on Tata Martino and signing Mr. Barcelona for no reason, and they rated MLS higher than La Liga. And I think, like Eddie said, a lot of teams have a few things to worry about if Piojo takes over. He wouldn't have been my first pick. I still lean more towards Jimmy Lozano. If we're gonna bring somebody else on, that's definitely my front runner. Because the guy I wanted years back is definitely not gonna happen anymore. La Volpe, it'd be nice to see him come in, but I feel like his style of play has definitely, shown that it's not, going to adapt to modern football. And I think he's going to stay stuck on his ways, unfortunately, because of his resume. And he's always going to sit on that. And why would he change his ways, right? He did his job. And I feel like it's time to move on and start this new generation. And who better than the guy that was running the whole Olympic team and really brought a trophy home at the end of the day? So why not Jimmy? But the bigger problem here, Televisa has to stop picking coaches, and
Just
these
recycling
guys,
coaches. It's
got to
just,
let it go.
the Mexican Federation, it even goes back to Liga MX where you see the same coaches being recycled throughout the
Over
reps.
and over
So
and
again,
over.
it's an infrastructure thing.
But that
It's
happens in every sport, I think. In the NFL,
I
same thing
don't
happens
know, man.
too.
It's just it's so unfortunate because it's like JC's hitting that. Like you have someone like a Jimmy Lozano that he's gone through the ranks, and you feel like, hey, maybe it's his chance to do what maybe like a Scolani did for Argentina, right? So why not give
If
Jimmy the
Graham
chance?
Potter can take over
You know,
Chelsea from
oh
coaching
man,
Brighton, why can't Jimmy come in after coaching the national team to the Olympic bronze?
So on that note, it has been another fantastic episode of Compas FC. We appreciate you guys for listening. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Let us know if you guys have any questions, we'll answer them. And guys, don't forget to go check out everything else that is on the Compas on the Beat Network. Don't forget Chargers, Jaguars this weekend. Dan and Dago and I have your full preview. Can Justin
Go
Herbert
Bulls.
go into his first playoff game and come out with a victory and set up a big matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round? Obviously, House of Horns, Gilbert and Vic season is over. They had everything talking about, is Sean McVay gone? Is he going to go to the booth and take that big contract from Amazon and go into the booth, which leaves another coaching vacancy open? And don't forget to go check out Compas on the Beat. We talk about all the coaching vacancies. Is Sean Payton even going to take a job? Is he going to wait and maybe wait out another one? Who knows? We also have all your week 18 takeaways. And don't forget to go check out all the special preview episodes that we did for each wild card game this weekend. Giants and Vikings, Seattle Seahawks against the 49ers. We got it all. Go check that out. And then, like I mentioned, don't forget Combat Compas. It's on its way back. WWE just sold to Saudi Arabia, according to numerous outlets. What does that mean? We'll be breaking that down. A lot of good stuff happening right now. And then also, we have a surprise coming up. We're up to something, but we're not going to release that just yet. But we appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget, be a compa, tell a compa, like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you guys like. And if you guys have any questions, the guys will answer. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys and have a great week and enjoy the Derby. Enjoy this weekend's soccer action because obviously it's going to be a fun one. So thank you guys so much.